Hey, we're Saints. Father Chris here. Happy Thursday. Welcome to our Crucifixional Live stream. Glad to have you lovely people with us. We've been talking all week about fathers and fatherhood. And I alluded to yesterday that today we would talk about the complementary roles between a father and a mother and why it's important that we have both. And the reason that's a topic of conversation, as you know, and I'm not going to really get into it so much, but that in the modern milieu of the world in which we live, there are non-traditional marriages, right? We all have encountered two men being married together or two women being married together, and that they're raising children and so on. And the problem with this, there's a bunch of things why we find trouble in that, but really the real problem that I see is that it's a statement that men and women are equal, and we are certainly equal in the eyes of the law. That's not what I'm talking about. When I use the word equal, I mean in the sense of interchangeable, right? So that a father can be played, the role of a father can be played by a father or the role of a father can be played by a man or a woman. And likewise, that the role of a mother can be played by a man or a woman. And so when men and women become interchangeable, then of course it's fine to have two men marry or two women marry and so on. But the reality of it is, and this is not even worth arguing, don't come at me with this because you know it and I know it and everybody in the world knows it. It's self-evident that men and women are very different. Not the same in many respects at all. We're equal before the law. We're equal in the eyes of God, but we're not the same. We are not interchangeable parts who can be swapped around, right? We all know this. Men and women, rather, are two complementary halves of a more complete whole, right? And I know in my own marriage, as a perfect example, there are things that my bride can do that I just simply cannot do. She is a master at certain skills and gifts and things and roles and acts and business that I am not, and vice versa. And neither is that good or bad. It is just to be recognized and realized that there are differences between the two of us. But now look, when you put the two of us together, forgive me if I sound arrogant. I'm going to sound arrogant. I don't really intend to. But look, when we're together, there ain't no one better, right? Like a force to be reckoned with. Because she picks me up when I fall down. And vice versa, right? Like when my gifts and skills are lacking, she's Johnny on the spot right there. And hopefully I'm the same for her. I try to lift her up as well. And we become sorry, it sounds arrogant, forgive me, but a power couple when we're together. Because we're working for our strengths, with our strengths that cover up the weaknesses of one another. This is how it works. And that's the key that I want to talk about today in fatherhood. Is like, look, there are things we all recognize it. Any man who has a child and is married knows that woman can do things that we cannot do. It is what it is. But there are also things that fathers can do that mothers cannot do. And it is essential that we, as fathers, do not muddy the waters or get muddled in it and do our business. I said yesterday, there's no excuse you can give me for being an absentee father. There are none that are valid. Death. So that's the only one. Otherwise, it's your business. And some of those things that you must do as a father that are so essential and cannot be replaced by anyone are your responsibility to do that, right? Like, for example, to teach our children. As I said, my bride teaches my children, she teaches them tremendously, sometimes way better than I do. But there are some things that are mine to teach and mine alone. And it is not for me to give them to anyone else, right? Perfect example. My oldest is now a driver. My youngest just passed her permit test. We're going to teach her to drive, just like I did with the first one. I took her out, taught her how to drive. Now, that's not to say that my wife couldn't teach my children to drive, right? I mean, she did. Part of the training of our children how to drive, my bride was intimately involved. But the first trip was mine. Discussing gas pedals and brakes and blinker lights and how to adjust the seat and seat belts. That's my job. It's not to say that Allie couldn't do it and maybe even do a better job, but it's mine. Don't miss that responsibility. Do you understand? It's also my responsibility to teach them and instruct them in the ways and the wisdom of the world. My wife is fighting these fights and I'm fighting these, and it's my job to take these and give them to the kids. I feel like today I'm not being very eloquent, and I apologize. But the truth of the matter is, it's so essential that we remember as fathers, you are not an interchangeable piece that anyone can walk in. You are important. It matters. It's essential. It's of utmost import. Now, it's also sometimes hard to do that because we don't know what the hell we're doing, right? I know I don't always know what I'm doing, and I know that it took me a long time to get from being a mediocre father to what I now consider to be a pretty good father to my children. To help you guys on that way, we want to give you all of our experience, all of our teaching, and ultimately what God himself says. That's why you visit warriorsaints.org. Subscribe to the Way of the Warrior Saint, because in this you will find those tools that you were looking for. Action steps, deliberate, things that you can do by going here and saying this and doing this to help you as you are trying to be a better parent, right? As you're trying to be a better man, especially as we talk to fathers this week, as you are trying to be a warrior saint. You're going to find all that you need at warriorsaints.org. Visit now, scroll halfway down, subscribe to the Way of the Warrior Saint. Love you, beautiful people. We're going to be back tomorrow to talk about fathers teaching their children about spouses. Till then, keep walking on the Way of the Warrior Saint.